White Christmas. Chapter 1. It's getting colder by the day. Can you believe it'll be Christmas soon? Then before you know it, it'll be a new year. Sadly, we've yet to see our first snowfall this year. I hope we get a white Christmas. That would be most lovely. How are you two? I haven't heard from either of you in ages. With each of us living so far away from one another, I'm so glad we're able to see each other here, especially for the holidays. I apologize, the house isn't usually this messy. Lately, it's been teeming with activity due to all the guests coming and going. I know most of them, and others I've never seen before. There were some odd ones though, but I refrained from saying anything because that would be rude of me. Maybe it was good that two got a large house after all, because I was originally against the idea. But now I see it wasn't such a bad decision. We wouldn't have room for everyone if the house was smaller. Two has grown into a fine young man, hasn't he? My son is married with kids now. You should see the grandchildren. They are so adorable. Then he got himself quite the career too. I mean, look at the house. If you were to tell me years ago that my son would become a doctor, I wouldn't have believed it. You both wouldn't have imagined it either. Not to take anything away from him, he and the rest of my children had a rough childhood, practically scraping from the bottom of the barrel compared to all their cousins, and even yours, Sister Chia. And Mom, I wished you were around more often. I could have used the help. I did what I could, especially after Shang passed away. It was rough. I can't imagine what the kids must have went through. At times, I didn't know what I was doing or how I was going to be able to raise them on my own. They never had a taste of the finer things in life. No shiny new toys, fancy gadgets, and clothes. It also didn't help that I could barely speak a word of English, nor operate a motor vehicle. Even after all that, look at them now. Look at my beautiful children. It brings me tears of joy when I think of how far they've come. I'm so very proud of them. Anyway, that's enough about my family and I. Let's get you two settled down with some refreshments. Two, come see who is here to visit us. Come get them something to eat and a drink. They've come a very long way. Chapter 2. Mom, did you say we had visitors? Yes, come say hello. You remember Grandma and Auntie Chia, don't you? The last time you saw either of them was before we moved, and you were but a boy. Be a dear and make sure to get them something to eat and drink. Yes, Mom. You'll never guess why they're here. Why are they here? They said they're going to pick me up for a grand banquet. Isn't that lovely? I'm to be the guest of honor. Look at them, they're all dressed up. Ask Mai and your sisters to help me find something suitable for the event. I don't know how I'm going to be able to match them, but hopefully we can find something decent to wear. Right, Mom. I'm gonna step outside for a moment. What's Mom going on about? I don't know. Something about Grandma and Auntie Chia taking her to a grand banquet. You're not serious, are you? You don't mean? I am totally serious. Both of them had passed away for years now. Lately, Mom's been rambling on about lots of guests being at the house. Mainly relatives she hadn't seen since Laos and Thailand, even some she'd never seen before. You don't think it's almost time, do you? I'm afraid it is. You and my sisters should dress her up one last time. Just in case. Chapter 3. Hello and welcome back to Pocket-Sized Tales. I'm your host, Logan. If you like the content, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you want to be an MVP and are super generous, we got merchandise from the Pocket Shop for sale in the link provided in the description. For today's show, we got a story from Two. It's about a grieving son's last moments with his dying mother. It reads, while tending to my mom during hospice in her last days, she had a vision of being visited by my late grandma and aunt, who said they were there to take her to some extravagant banquet. Though we were raised Christian, we decided to dress Mom up in the white dress my sisters picked out before she passed. This is a custom practiced in the traditional Hmong funerals. It was believed that the dead will enter into the afterlife with the clothes on their backs, so it is important to dress them appropriately before they pass away if possible. I usually sleep in a cot in her room in case she needs anything at night. The electricity went out between 2 and 3 a.m. one night. I knew this because the night light and her oxygen machine suddenly stopped working. It was in the middle of winter, but in that instant, it got really cold. Within a couple of minutes, the room felt like a freezer. Even Mom started to stir and whimper in her sleep. I slept without a blanket or shirt on since it was warm in there up until that moment. I pulled the covers over myself as goose flesh crept over me. My dog Buster started barking from the living room along with my neighbor's dogs. Buster never barks, and my neighbor's dogs were usually quiet at night. I had the blanket over me and my eyes closed, trying to get some sleep. Then, from out of nowhere, I heard a Hmong folk song in a voice of a woman outside Mom's window. I couldn't tell what was being said, but it was in the Green dialect. I've heard enough of it growing up to know the difference between the Hmong dialects, since Mom used to watch them on VHS all the time. I focused intensely on the voice for about 15 seconds before throwing the blanket off myself. When I did, it stopped. The barking lingered for a few more seconds, but ultimately ceased. Thinking Mom was on YouTube, I glanced over but didn't see the glow from her phone either. She was still asleep, but no longer whimpering. All of a sudden, the electricity came back on. The following day, Mom passed away after months of unimaginable suffering from her illness. Though I've always remained strong in front of her, I'd cry in secret from seeing her in such a state. As sad as it was for my siblings and I, and all the grandkids to no longer have her with us, I am relieved she is no longer suffering. We buried Mom on Christmas Day, and it snowed for the first time that year. In this life, I don't think I know anyone who lived a harder life than Mom. Growing up, she lost most of her hearing due to an illness as a little girl. When Mom came here to the States, she got married, but my dad passed away suddenly, so she raised us on her own, having to navigate a strange new world with very limited knowledge of its language and ways. She was an amazing woman to go through so much to put us in our current situation. I love you, Mom. Thank you for everything. You can rest easy knowing everything you did wasn't in vain, and your legacy will live with us forever.